Okay, so Be'ezras Hashem, we are going to complete and finish up Torah Mem Tes, which is really pushing further and further the same idea that the Tzimtzum is ultimately for the sake of revealing something that could not take shape without the Tzimtzum. And when we're able to accomplish that thing that is the result of the Tzimtzum, it retroactively reveals the entire purpose of the Tzimtzum. So Bina is the origination of the Tzimtzum, the need to make a halal in the heart. And this apparent act of tzimtzum only takes on value when the void of the heart is filled with illumination, which is machshavas tovos. And through the machshavas tovos, we refine the halal and we transform that new world into a world of illumination. And we're able to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And by serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the lower realms, which are the outgrowth of Tzimtzum, we engage with the lower Yerushalayim. We engage within the territory of the lower levels of experience. And contrary to the normative perspective, which would say that the lower level is dependent upon the higher level, when we carry out what we actually need to do as the result of the tzimtzum, which is to create formidable expressions of divine worship in a measured and structured way, as opposed to an overabundance of intense feelings, which prevents anything from happening. So by engaging with the lower realm in the way that we need to, then we elevate the higher realm, which is Bina, because we show that now we understand the purpose of the entire tzimtzum. We understand the purpose of the entire tzimtzum, and we're able to reveal the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it's through the Machshavas Tovos. And Rabbi Nosson kind of followed up with everything that Rabbi Nachman had said. And now we're going to go even further into the teaching. Once we have this identification of this two-pronged process, the Beis Se'ilah and the Beis Tata. The first tzimtzum, which creates the void in which we have to engage, but it's specifically in the void of engagement that we're able to draw down new light. When we're able to draw down new light down here, we then create a ripple effect that reveals the purpose of the original tzimtzum, which is the paradox that the Beta Ilah, the Bina, the Yerushalayim Shel Mala, Leah, is really only fully expressed when Rachel, Beisa Tata, Yerushalayim Shel Mata takes shape. Very much like we see in Kegavna, that it's specifically in the development of reality down here that we awaken the highest sources. This is Yisrael Asher B'cha Aspire. This is the tachlis of the Bria of the Olam, which is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to reveal mitzvos ma'asim tovim, which is Kabbalah Malchus Shemayim. So it turns out that everything is dependent on the very small thing, which is us. And when we access what we need to do properly, in each moment we can reflect on the illumination of that world that's created in the absence of the light of the heart. So then we elevate everything back up. So now the Rebbe is going to become more associative, but it's also going to be fundamental in understanding how all of this is working. Ubishvil zeh nikra Nisan Aviv, Aleph im Beis, Yud im Beis, v'zeh yichid ilah, v'zeh yichid tata. So be'emes, I don't fully understand exactly what this line is doing here, other than hinting to the fact that we just discussed so much how you have this paradoxical relationship between the upper realm and the lower realm. That the upper realm is the first simsum, and then it creates the lower realm, but it's specifically the avoda in the lower realm that allows us to then go back up to the higher realm to reveal the purpose of the higher realm, which is elyonim lamata v'tatainim lamala. Meaning to say that the lowest level, the malchus, the tzimtzum in the Beisa Tata, is going to elevate the Beisa Ilah, which is the lower level adding something to the higher level. And here we see that these two ideas are expressed in Pesach itself, as we're going to see this idea of the creation of a new world, the tzimtzum for the sake of a creation, is ultimately the beginning that's associated with Nisan. And so what is it about Nisan? Nisan can be broken up into two elements, Aleph with Beis and Yud with Beis. Aleph with Beis of Av and the Yud Beis of Aviv. So you have these two elements. The Aleph with the Beis, Rabbi Nachman is saying, reflects the Beis Se'ilah, the Yichud Ilah, the higher level of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's revelation. The Yud with the Beis represents the Yichud Tata. Perhaps because when you start off with an Aleph, it represents the Achdus, and that's being Meskala within the Beis. And then when you start with the Yud, you're already dealing with manifoldness, you're already dealing with fullness and extension and expression, and that's Megala itself in the Beis. That would be the Yichud Tata. And so we see that it's the Yichud Tata, which in truth is going to determine the balance of the Yichud Ilah, which is the Tachtonim being Machriya, the Mitzias of the Elyonim. So let's see. All of this is the aspect, meaning this revelation that it's specifically down here in the halal of the tzimtzum and the ability to create real measured expression of Avodas Hashem in the tzimtzum itself, that's going to be made and megala the tachlis of everything, that it's soif massive machshavat tchila, that it's only through our actions down here that are going to validate the purpose of existence. This element of the lower level proving the higher level, which reveals that the lower you are, the more valuable your avoda is in terms of the final expressions. This is the element of the shir sheyitayir la'asid, which is the secret of the shir pashut, kafel, meshulish, umeruba, vehem asare, mine, niguna. So everything we've discussed until now is all in the aspect of the shir that is going to be misgale la'asid lavo, the shir that we hint towards in Az Yashir. When it's the secret of Az Yashir, then we're going to sing, meaning it's a future orientation, and that future orientation is the secret of the shir sheyasayir la'atid, which is the secret of the shir pashut, kafel, meshulish, umeruba. Now, the shir pashut, kafel, meshulish, umeruba is the single, double, threefold, and fourfold song, which represents the gradational process in which we descend from infinite light down to concealment in the process of olam ha'atzilus, olam of bria, olam of yitzira, olam of asiya. The yud of the Shem Havaya is the Shir Pashut. That's going to represent Atzilus. The Shir Kaful is Yud Hey, because it's all written in B'derech Achorayim, like we're going to light by Hanukkah candles. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the secret of the gradation and incremental growth of the Shir Pashut Kaful Meshulish Meruba, that it grows upon itself and it retreats back to its point of origin in order to uncover more strength. So it's never a fundamental growth from the beginning towards an end, but it's the beginning and a little bit more, and then a retreat back to uncover more, and then to move a little bit forward, and then retreating backwards. So it's the secret of incremental growth that reveals the value of each and every prat within the process, in spite of the fact that the end-all process and the result is more significant than the process that leads up to it. So we have the Shir Pashut, which is La'ilam Ha'atzilus, Shir Kaful, which is Atzilus and Bria, Shir Meshulish, which is Atzilus, Bria, and Yitzira, and the Shir Pash and the Shir Meruba is Atzilus, Bria, Yitzira, and Asiya. Or, phrased differently, the Shir Pashut is the Machshava, the Shir Kaful is Machshava along with Hirhur, along with the application of thought into a felt sense. The Shir Meshulis is going to be that being expressed within speech as well, and the Shir Meruba is bringing it all the way down to the body. Now, surprisingly, it's the lowest expression of the name, which is the Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is all the way down to Olam Ha'asiya, which is really the only one of these moments that takes on the shape of an actual name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When you look at Yud, Yud doesn't have an inherent Kedusha to it. When you look at Yud K, it doesn't have inherent Kedusha to it. It's not Shemos She'enim Nimchakim, unless it's written for the purpose of being written as Yud K. Yud K Vav is not a shame that can't be erased, but Yud K Vav K is obviously the etzem of all things. So how could it be that it's specifically at the lowest level, on the fourfold level of concealment and the place of the body itself, that we're going to reveal the loftiest potency of the song? Now, this is something that the Rebbe brings up very much, and he writes it in the beginning of his commentary to Tikkun Klali. But ultimately, it's the secret that it's specifically within the lower areas that a person will have the ability to reveal the loftiest light, because in correspondence with the levels of concealment and the breakthrough that we have in those areas is going to be the riboy or that's going to be Niskala. Whereas the Torah Chacham explains the reason that it's specifically in Olam HaAsiya that we find the fullest expression of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name, which is again the same stira of how Beisa Ilah is dependent on Beisa Tata, and how the Yichud Ilah is dependent on the Yichud Tata, and how the Tzimtzum is only going to be revealed when we serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu down here. It's a secret of Eino dome rabim ha'oisem etzat mitzvah le'hayochid sha'oisa etzat mitzvah. That there's a very big difference between one person who does a mitzvah and the rabbim that do a mitzvah, because the more the proliferation takes shape, the more tzimtzum there is, and the more light that can be revealed within those vessels of tzimtzum. When it's one person, it's not such a chiddush, because all it is that person's tzimtzum. When it's two people, it's two tzimtzumim. When it's three people, it's three tzimtzumim. When it's four people or more people, it's all of the tzimtzum tzimtzumim. It's all of the riboy gvanim, all of the changes and the shifts in color that are going to ultimately reveal the illumination that comes out from it. And that's the secret of the Shir Pashat Kafel Meshulish Meruba, which is the secret of the Asara Mine Niguna, which is the Sharish of Tikkun Klali. And that's rooted in everything we've been discussing in terms of trying to draw down the light of positive thinking into the halal of our heart. Yud Vehe Masar Minyan Niguna. Zev B'chinas Hey. This is the element of the Hey that we discussed earlier, that we said drawing down positive thoughts into the halal and illuminating that halal within our heart is the element of there was a dalid and then it became a Hey. The dalid is the leis lemagav meklum. The dalid is the feeling of impoverishment. The dalid is the feeling of not having anything whatsoever. The drawing the yud down into the dalid to make it into a hey is drawing the machshava tova, which is nikra al shem yud, which is az yashir hanemar al shem ruach hakodesh, as Rashi says al shem hachachma. That when we draw the chachma down into the dalid, we're magala the shir pashat kafel meshulashim ruba. Why? Because the dalid is the bechina of the shir pashat. Kafel Meshulish Meruba. Like we said, Dalit is the element of Tzimtzum. It also reflects the four stages of the fourfold song, which expresses itself by way of Tzimtzum. But the Yud that we draw down into it is the Bechina of the Asera Mine Niguna, how that 1, 2, 3, 4 process, ultimately the Tzaddikim say all that exists are Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dalit. Because Aleph plus Beis is 3, plus Dalit plus Gimel is 6, plus Dalit is 10. So ultimately within the first 4 expressions of the Aleph Beis, when read in this way, you're going to find 10. So when we draw the Yud into the 10, we're being Megala, the Asara Mine Niguna, Lamata, and that brings out the Hey. That's the creation of a new world. V'zeh al yidei hiskalis malchusa. What is it that's actually taking shape that refines all things? Like we said, it's the Kabbalah's Ol Malchus Shemayim, the revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Malchus, down here in the lowest place imaginable, in the aspect of Sarah al Kol HaOlam, that the Shira rooted in Ruach HaKodesh, which was the secret of Sarah and the Malchus of this world, that's the element of the Shir in the aspect of Sharim Kechoilalim, like we said, that the song, the fourfold song, is ultimately only going to unfold in accordance with the levels of Tzimtzum that preceded it. Sharim Kechoilalim, that the song, just like when a person is playing a song from a flute or playing on guitar, the music is being played from the empty spaces within the instrument itself. The Khalil, which is the definition of musical instruments in the language of Chazal, especially when it comes to the Simchas Beis HaShoeva, is the same language as Halal, because ultimately it's the willingness to play the empty spaces that Rabbi Nachman is being Megala here. You make the empty space and then you fill it with breath, then you fill it with air, and that's what's going to transform the empty space into a place of air. This is the element of Malchus David, the element of Na'im Zemiros Yisrael, the secret of Na'im Zemiros Yisrael. I just saw from Rav Menachem Mendel of Shklov that Zemiros is Osios Raze Maves, the secrets of death, in the sense that when we descend down into the territories of concealment and we cultivate the musical growth that comes out of that place, what we've taken is Raze Maves, we've taken the concealment, and we've elevated it back up to a place of making a song out of that. And that was the life of David HaMelech. David HaMelech, as this week Zohar Kadosh says, didn't have life. David HaMelech was meant to be a Neufel. David HaMelech needed to beg for life, and he received life from Adam HaRishon. But ultimately, David HaMelech was a Bar Nafle. David HaMelech was already, to a certain degree, the element of the Osdalit, of the Leis Lemegame Klum, and that's where he draws the Yud down into it, which is the secret of the Tefillah Liani. V'zeh Perush, and this is the explanation. Isascha Guza Gechon Velachish. So Rashi says on the Gemara in Bava Metzia Daf Nun Tes Amud Aleph that what it means that Isascha Guza, that one should listen to their wife, one should listen to the Ruach HaKodesh of the feminine principle. Ki be'emes isha yiras Hashem hi b'chinas etza. Because what is it about the feminine quality? What is it about the Isha? The Isha is the secret of Hashem Sifatai Tiftach, Eshes. That's the secret of Malchus. It's the opening of the gate. And like Sarah, when the Isha has Yira Shamayim, it becomes the aspect of an Eitzah, which is Tishma to that Eitzah. It's an Eitzah kipshuta of what to do in a place of a tzimtzum. Ukeshat tefillah hainu bechinas malchus b'shiflus ubekatnus. And when we find ourselves in a state of a dalid where the tefillah is not illuminating the world, when we're not able to transform all of the concealment into a place of illumination, and we're stuck in the lowness of it and the smallness of it, in the bechina of isoscha guza, that your tefillah or the level of isha is stuck in a level of concealment of gechoin velachish, and the aspect of achos lanu katana, that the secret of feminine principle is referred to as katana, as diminished, as low, in the aspect of esmaor hakatan, the secret of the levana, which is the deficiency and the diminution of malchus, and the aspect of eitzaso nofeles, in the aspect of the eitza that is given over from malchus, from the isha, actually falls into a place of concealment. So when that happens, when tefillah is dead, when we don't know how to illuminate the world again, when we find ourselves with the tzimtzum, not knowing what to do because malchus has fallen down, what we need to do is tzarich lahakimosa. We have to elevate malchus back up to its place. We have to reveal how it's specifically by way of malchus that a person is going to be able to reveal the fullness of the sheer pashut kafel meshulish ruba and the secret of Leah and Rachel, and the secret of Yaakov Avinu has to go into the house of Lavan in order to uncover the vibrancy of Beis Yisrael that's going to be nivna through the bias tachton and the bias elyon. And that's the aspect of Akim as Sukkah's David, that we're going to raise up the Sukkah of David, Malka Mashiach, which is the place of Malchus that has fallen. Because the Sukkah is ultimately the aspect of Sarah, Shasara Beruach HaKodesh, Sasakta Beruach HaKodesh, meaning all of it is the same. It's all associative, revealing that each and every Nakuda is talking about the same thing. The woman, the feminine principle, the concealment, David Malka Mashiach, Tefillah, Eitzah, the Sukkah, Ruach HaKodesh, all of these things are associated with that lower part of Malchus that has the possibility of descending down into a place of concealment, but also it's the very site in which we're going to transform the halal into the shir pashut kafel meshulashim ruba. And when we elevate it back up in the secret of malchus, we reach that place of atzas Hashem hitakum, that the eitzah of Hakadosh Baruch Hu, the eitzah of taking malchus all the way back up to the rosh and being megala how malchus is the tachlis of all things, to be megala the purpose of the tzimtzum, then everything arises again. And it's the aspect of the shnei ha'ma'oros hagadolim, that the entire purpose of creation was the miyut halavana, so that the Levana can go down into the territory of concealment, which at first glance appears to be a total descent. But ultimately, it's the descent of Malchus that is going to be the deepest revelation imaginable of Shnei Ma'oros Hagadolim, and that Levana only did what it did because it knew deep down that that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted it to do. HaKadosh Baruch Hu can't tell the Levana to be Mamayit itself. HaKadosh Baruch Hu could only give the Eitzah to the Levana to be Mamayit itself, because the reality of Malchus is that it has to make that decision on its own. And in that place, when we elevate it back up again, it's going to be Shnei HaMa'oros HaGadolim, and this is the secret of Lachishla, meaning that a person should listen to the Eitzah, to kabel the Eitzah of your wife, meaning to say, Zeh Aliyas HaTfila Shehi B'chinas HaLachash. This is the secret of Tfila, when it's done properly, when it's whispered, a person has the ability of elevating it back up, revealing the purpose of Malchus, which is the Avodah Shebelev. You guys with me? Say there. This is the aspect
Yes.
of tshuva. This is the aspect of tshuva, the elevation of the lower world back up, the utilization of a tzimtzum and a halal to reveal more of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's light, to descend down into Haran, to come out with Leah and Rachel. All of it is the aspect of tshuva, the elevation of the descent of Malchus from Bina, and the elevation of Malchus back up to Vina, to then bring Bina to a place of Chachma, which it could not have reached without the descent. This is the aspect of tshuva, which is obviously rooted in Bina, like the pasuk says, and it expresses itself in Malchus. The pasuk says, "Hukam al." What does Hukam al means? That it was set up. Allah shal tshuva, that David HaMelech set up the edifice, the notion of tshuva, that David HaMelech's entire existence was ultimately to come to teach tshuva to the world. And tshuva is the osios tashuv hey. It's the same secret of taking Malchus and bringing it all the way back up, so that the encounter with the lowliness of this world and the refinement and the subjugation of the concealment of it, for the sake of creating a sha'ashua and a willingness to find HaKadosh Baruch Hu in that low place of the sheer meruba, in the body itself, that's going to be elevating the hay. It's going to be creating the hay, of drawing the yud down into the dalid and being mashlim, the deficiency of the dalid, with the fullness of the yud, which becomes a hay. Now again, hay is lower than yud. So theoretically, if the yud is coming down into the dalid, why don't we say that it just becomes a yud? Why do we have to have a hey? Why do we still need the dalid? Because the secret of malchus is that the dalid is illuminated by the yud, which becomes a hey. It's very different. We're not saying that all we want is up there. We're saying that it's specifically by way of down here in relationship to up there that there'll be able to be a unification of the two of them to give us the secret of the hey itself, which is the hey of malchus going back up to bina, which is the secret of tshuva, shana asis medalid hey, that we go from the leis lemegar meklum and the chalal hapanui and we draw the yud into it. The ikra tshuva tali believe, and all of this, as Rabbi Nachman, is taking place in the heart, like we said, in the halal of the heart, which is the place of the tzimtzum. Kamesha Kasuv, like the pasuk says, ulevavo yavin v'shav, that the heart, which is the place of bina, which is the besa ilah, it has intuition, it has the ability of understanding one thing from another. A tzaddik doesn't have to be maven davar mitoch davar because it's a davar echad ledor. They have a one seamless unity of self. There's no splitness of riboy davarim. But the Baal Tshuva goes from a davar, they thought they were a davar, and then they become another davar, and now there's a steer between the two of them. With the secret of Bina, we have the ability of being Madama Milsa Milsa and Mavin Davar Mitoch Davar, which the Tzemach Tzedek says is the capacity to intuate the secret of Yichud Ilah from within Yichud Tata, and Yichud Tata from within Yichud Ilah. That's the Mavin Davar Mitoch Davar. That's the secret of Tshuva, of Levavo Yavin V'Shav. V'zeh B'chinas Mi Zos Ola. This is the secret of the unification of Mi and Zos, of Malchus, which is Zos, going back up to Bina, which is the secret of Mi, and unifying them and revealing the depths of the existence in that place. Mi imzos ola, meaning the secret of the oile, which is the secret of tefillah lishma, which is the secret of drawing the yud down into the dalid, is what's going to elevate malchus back up to bina. What is this ola that we said is associated with David HaMelech? It's the ola of tshuva, aliyah shel tshuva. It's the ascendancy of tshuva, that which takes place when malchus ascends back up to bina into the secret of mi. And this is the secret of the zebechinas Geula tshuva, the secret of tshuva, the greatness of tshuva, which is so great that it reaches up to the kisei hakavod. The kisei hakavod is the realm of Beisa Ilah. Kisei HaKavod is the Olam Habriya, it's the place of Bina. Tshuva has the ability of bringing Malchus, the deficiency of Malchus, back up to the Shairesh of deficiency in its purity, which is Bina. This is the secret of Hamtakas Adinim B'Sharasham. When we take the lower hay and we bring it back up to the upper hay, when we bring Malchus back up to Bina, we're being Mamtik Dinim B'Sharasham. That's the secret of Tshuva, because the Dinim, as they get congealed and they express themselves as actual concealment in the world of Asiya, they seem unrecognizable to the source from whence they came, which was Bina. Bina is refinement. Bina is already shaykh to the world of Gar. It's still shaykh to the world of infinitude, where there's no pollution whatsoever. The radical secret of Bina is that in spite of the fact that it represents pure Rachamim Rabim, nevertheless, the Nekudos of the Shem Havaya of Bina are the Nekudos of Elokim. And just as Nekudos direct the word towards the reader and their graspability, as opposed to what the essential word is saying, the Nekudos of Bina represent the fact that Dinin Misarin Minei, that din is going to emerge from bina. And the only way to truly rectify the shorish of din in bina is to see the hishtalshalos of the gevuros, how the shorish of the gevura in bina now finally congeals into the klipos and the dinim in olam malchus, and by elevating the klipos and the dinim and the concealment in the world of malchus back up to bina, we're mamtik the dinim b'sharashim, and we show where the source of all of it was ultimately. And this is the aspect of Gedola tshuva shemageas ad kisei hakavod. Why? V'zeh gedola tshuva shemekareves hageula. Because this secret that Rabbeinu is pointing out now of connecting the lower hay with the upper hay, of connecting Malchus with Bina, of elevating Rachel back up to Leah to show the unity, is ultimately all that we're trying to do. This is the secret of the entirety of existence. This entire teaching is saying what the purpose of creation is. Why is there a tzimtzum? Ultimately, there's a tzimtzum so that within the tzimtzum we can transform that place into a place of Kabbalah Malchus Shemayim, thereby ascending it back up. And now we're not just going back up armed with the same potency that we came down with, but we are armed with far greater potency because we reveal the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu within Malchus as well. And this is the secret of the Kisei HaKavod. This is the secret of Geula, because Geula is a return of the world of Malchus back up to the world of Bina, which is the Elef HaShvi'i, which is the place where there's the Churva, because it's the Chad Charuv. This world gets destroyed. This world gets negated from its form and its existence, because the way that Malchus operates right now, in accordance with our graspability of it in the realm of Bria, Yitzir, and Asiya, is ultimately deficient, and it's seen in a concealed way. But the secret of Tshuva, the secret of the elevation upwards is going from the dinim of Malchus and bringing them back up to that original place of Bina, to that place of Yom Shekula Shabbos. Shabbos is the element of Bina, even though Shabbos day is the element of Chachma. Nevertheless, the transition from the week into Friday night, that time of Kabbalah's Shabbos and Leil Shabbos and the Chakal Tapuch and Kadishin, is the ascendancy of Malchus back up to Bina. And on a certain level, in spite of the fact that Shabbos lunch is higher and so is Shalosh Shudas, nevertheless, there's a potency inherent within Leil Shabbos itself, which represents the unique capacity to elevate this worldliness. Shabbos day is not so much about this worldliness anymore. When a person is operating from a perspective of Chachma, the goal is not to necessarily pay attention to the particularity, but rather to abstract my frame of mind to a place that I see things in their collective, to not be so bothered by the differentiation between things, but to operate in a place of unity. Friday night, there's no denying the stark difference between the death-bringing experience of the week and the transition into the Olam Haba of Friday night. That was the time of the real aliyos. The Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh said that that was specifically the time to come and ask him a question because it was the time of the highest aliyah, and it was when he was able to ensure that he was farthest down in the lowest place, that because the tzaddik needed to be above and below at once. That's the place of Mincha on Erev Shabbos. So the secret of Shabbos is also Malchus going back up to Bina, being mamtik the dinim of the seventh day of the week, which is Malchus, and it's the lowest, but it's also the highest because it's getting rooted back into Bina, which is the purpose of creation, to create Shabbos, to create Geula, to create Tefillah Lishma, to experience the process of tshuva. V'yaskale oiraisa da atika stima'a kamo shekasuv az tisanig al Hashem daika shehu atika stima'a v'zeh ikar oineg Shabbos. So what the Rebbe is being masbi here is something very, very powerful. As I understand it, we've been talking until now about how when we elevate Malchus back up to Bina, what we're doing is we're being mamtik the dinim that operate in Malchus, and we're bringing it back up to Bina. That's the yichud of the Beisa Tata with the Beisa Ilah. But what happens? Does it just go back to Bina, or does it actually go back up to a higher place? Because now Rabbi Nachman seems to be implying that the ascent of Malchus up to Bina brings us to a higher place. It brings us into a place of Shabbos. It brings us into a place of the Torah of Atika Stima'a, the ancient Torah that's going to be revealed, La'atzid Lavo, which is obviously the same Torah but seen in a different lens, which is the secret of Keser. Because there's a unique relationship between Bina and Keser. That very often we look at things as Keser Chachma Bina. That Keser is so lofty it doesn't necessarily occupy a place in our orientation to the Seder HaShtalshlus. It operates by way of a makif. And the Shirusa, the beginning is Chachma, which is referred to as Yesh. Be'erech Keser, Chachma is referred to as Yesh. Keser is nothing, and Chachma is the somethingness that comes from nothing. But then, in relationship to Chachma, Bina is referred to as Yesh, and Chachma is referred to as Ayin. So we see that it goes Keser, Chachma, Bina. But there's also a unique relationship between Bina and Keser, to the degree that, as Rav Yitzchak Isaac Chaver points out, and as the Leshem points out, and as the Ari points out ultimately, that the shame associated with Keser and the shame associated with Bina are the same. They're Aleph Kei Vav Kei, as opposed to Shem Havaya. So clearly there's a connectivity between Bina and Keser. And why is that? Why is it that there's a secret that when a person is mamtik dinim and they go back up, not to a place of ultimate unity, but rather to a place of severity where they reveal the unity within the intensity of Bina? Why is it that there's a special opportunity to uncover the lights of Keser there? Because the more intensity there is, the more I can be mamtik the din, the more I can transform that which appeared to be the opposite of unity and transform it into the sight of unity itself, the more I'm accessing the profound light of Keser, which is the secret of Aniva Ayin Bevasachas. That Bina, when I descend down into the depths of Bina, which is the sense of separation, that sense of separation, when utilized properly within the framework of unity, it actually reveals the unity of HaKadosh Baruch Hu more potently than even Chachma does. Because Chachma is like water, it's static, it's smooth. Bina is the fire that boils the water, and it forces the water to recreate itself in a new way. So once I'm dealing with Bina in a refined way, Bina in an unrefined way, disconnected from Chachma, is Riboy Oros and it's destructive. It's a fire that burns. It's what happened to a certain degree in our graspability by Nadav and Avihu to one degree or another, as well as by the Chet of the Eitzadas. But our avodah is to refine Bina not for the sake of Bina, but for the recognition that the entire reason that I want to utilize Bina is so that I can now go back up into Chachma. When Bina goes back up into Chachma, it then goes directly into a place of Keser that could not have been revealed without Bina itself. And so that could be what Rabbi Nachman is hinting to here, that when I go through this process of elevating Malchus back up to Bina, what's revealed is the Torah of Atika Stima'a, in the secret of Mi Yimalel Gevuras Hashem Yashmiya Kol Tilaso. Only someone who is able to unify the Gevuras Hashem of Malchus, which the secret of Mi, which is Bina, will have the ability of Yashmiya Kol Tihilaso. They'll be able to hear the entirety of the Torah. Because a person who only wants a Torah of Chachma is going to lose out on the Bina element that allows the Torah to perpetually be recreating itself in the secret of the laughter of Yitzchak and the redemption of Yitzchak, etc., etc. And so there's a very, very powerful hint over here. And again, I was able to teach this today to some chaver here in Beit Shemesh. If you look in Pischei Sha'arim, from Rav Yitzchak Isaac Chaver in Nesiv Gadlus Deza Pesach Tes, this is what we learned today, and it's kind of exactly what he's talking about. Why the Eke of Bina also is going to reveal to us a new hasag of the Eke of Keser. And this is the Iker Oineg Shabbos. The Iker of Oineg Shabbos is not just Chachman, it's not just Bina, but but it's the Ischabrus of all three meals, sorry, which is the secret of the Oineg. The Shabbos is the Bechina of Tshuva, also, again, highlighting that all of these mechanisms are operating in the same way. And Rabbi Nachman is not just saying, hey, look at all of these ideas that seem similar together, and therefore they should be looped together. What Rabbeinu is saying, when each and every one of these items are associated with one another, that means that they share a fundamental spiritual DNA, which means that when I am engaging in a process of tshuva, I am ultimately engaging in the process of hamtakas adinim and the purpose of the creation of the world, and drawing the yud down into the dalid, and experiencing the secret of Shabbos, and learning how to elevate Malchus back up. It's not just creativity. Rabbi Nachman is revealing the spiritual realities that were coming down through his neshama that then become halachos psukos for us who are connected to the tzaddik. That when we read the words of the tzaddik about this being a bechina of that, it's not just saying look at the creativity. It's saying that this is a new path in avodas Hashem. When you're in Shabbos, a reasonable perspective now is I'm experiencing the process of hamtakas adinim and its simsum and transforming malchus into bina and trying to get to a place from bina into keser. It's all taking place in the same way across various frameworks. V'zeh b'chinas tshuva, this is the aspect of tshuva as it's written, v'shavta ad Hashem Elokecha. That tshuva is also a return back up to Hashem Elokecha, back up to that secret. And this is the secret of Gedoyle tshuva. How great is tshuva? How wondrous is tshuva? Shema'ale tshuva mebechinas esam or hakatan, mebechinas achois lanu katana, lebechinas gedoyla, lebechinas vahaya or halavana ka or hachama. So we see that everything we just discussed about the descent of Malchus from Bina into its current state of deficiency, all of this is the gedola of tshuva, the gedula of tshuva that brings Malchus all the way back up to Bina, which brings the Mor hakatan, the moon, back up to the Mor hagadol, which is the secret of Shnei HaMa'oros Gedolim, and it brings up Achos Lanu Hakatana to a place of Gedula, which is Ruach HaKodesh, the Shora on the Olam, and it brings the Or of the Levana to the Or of the Chama, which is the unification of all things. Shemage'es ad Kisei HaKavod, it goes all the way up to the Kisei HaKavod. What does it mean we're going up to the Kisei HaKavod? Hainu sha'al yedei ze yagia v'yasig oiraisa da'atika stima'a. Why is the Torah of Atika Stima'a called the Kisei? Because it's Kavasim l'levushecha. It's concealment upon concealment, hiddenness upon hiddenness. The Torah of Atika Stima is not revelatory. It's the revelation of concealment. It's the revelation within each and every prat, how it's aniva ayin bavasachas, and how this mechanism of the descent for the sake of the ascent and the revelation of the greatness of above that can only take shape by way of the struggle below, that's the Torah of Atika Stima. The Torah of Atika Stima is what Mashiach Tzidkenu will come to do in terms of teaching the tzaddikim how to do tshuva. To be megala to those who are above that they're really below, and those who are below that they're really above. It's the art side, I believe, or the Yom HaGeula of the Mittler Rebbe. I forget exactly which, on Tess and Yud Kislev. But the Mittler Rebbe wrote a kuntras. The Mittler Rebbe's whole mitzius was Bina. The Mittler Rebbe was Rehova Sanar. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, who was Malchus, said about the Mittler Rebbe, the reason that he wrote so lengthily and the reason that there's such kind of precision in his reasoning is because he had the secret of Bina, which was able to expand an idea in its width, in its length, and in its depth. The secret of the Rehova Sanar. That's the Mittler Rebbe. The Mittel is the secret of Bina. And so to elevate the seventh Rebbe back up to the second Rebbe is elevating Malchus back up to Bina. And we see that the Mittler Rebbe wrote a biur on this mimer of the Zohar Kadosh that says that Mashiach asya la'asvet tzadikaya b'tiyufta, that the ultimate purpose of Mashiach is to teach the tzaddikim how to do tshuva. And it's printed in Kuntrasei Admor Hamsai, and it's a fundamental foundational text that really shows how the Iker Tachlis of Mashiach is going to reveal to those who have always been close, having never fallen, how to experience the spiritual benefits of climbing out of the place that you've fallen into. Obviously, without having to fall, right? When the tzaddik comes out of his room and his tefillin are slightly off center, that's also the biggest yerida in the world. But nevertheless, there's something that is earned in the yerida. Not deliberately, God forbid, but the tnuah, the movement of being alive. Being alive is the yerida. Being a human being is the yerida. A person that does not have to be yored farther than that. Ein yerida gedola mizu, to be a neshama that's taken from the kisei hakavod. But it's yerida l'sarich aliyah, which is the secret of the hisgalus of Atika Stima'a, which is oriented towards the Kisei HaKavod. Why is the Torah of Atika Stima'a referred to as the Kisei HaKavod? Shemachasin so that it's hidden. It's a Torah of hiddenness. It's a Torah of lo yada. It's a Torah of lo yodea klum. That's the secret to be masig over there. As Rabbi Nassan explains very clearly in Hakdamat Likkutei Moharan, that this is what happens in the Torah of Atika Stima'a, that every ounce of revelation is just another revelation, a new layer of concealment that has to be revealed ad infinitum. And that's the secret of Gedola Tshuva Shemageas Ad Kisei HaKavod, that when I elevate Malchus all the way back up to Bina and I go even further back into Chachma, and then from Panemius Chachma to Panemius Atik to the Torah of Atika Stima'a, what I reveal is the great benefit that came about from the moments of concealment and the Chalal Panui of the Tzimtzum. The secret of Kavashim Luluvushecha, it should be concealed like a garment. Devarim Shehem Kivshoine Shel Olam, words that are rooted in the highest, loftiest places of the world should be underneath your tongue. As the Zohar Kadosh says, there are things that we express, and then there are things that can't be expressed, not because they're impossible to express, but even when they're expressed, they're not fully expressed. And that's the secret of the Torah of Atika Stima'a. That's the secret of Shemachasin also, that you cover it over, and the element of concealment for the sake of more and more revelation. The secret of Kavod Elokim Hester Davar, that when it comes to the Kavod of Elokim, when it comes to revealing the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hester Davar, it's the Hastara that's going to be Magala, the Kavod of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the most. Because Lo Yodea Klum, when a person comes to be Mavata themselves, B'tachlis Abitl, and they realize that I don't know anything at all, that's the secret of the Kisei HaKavod. Shemachasim Ipnei Kavod Elokim, that we conceal it because ultimately what it reveals is far greater than what revelation can actually offer us, so it reveals itself by way of concealment. And the secret of the Torah of Atika Stima'a, the ata tagia v'tasegota. And this line, these four words are very powerful. It's almost now like suddenly points to the reader, it points to the person who's reading the text, and it says, you are the one who can arrive and grasp this. The ata, it's not ata with an ayin, it's ata meaning you. It's speaking to the individual reader to show that kamoni mamish. When it comes to Atika Stima, when it comes to the Torah of Atika Stima, and what Rabbi Nachman was trying to be Megala, it was kamoni mamish. Whatever it means, kamoni mamish, it meant kamoni mamish. So Rabbi Nachman was saying, and the tzaddikim are always saying, that you can actually be like me. You can do this thing. Because every yid is a big tzaddik, and every yid has the ability to do these things. And that's the secret of ata tagia v'tasigosa. And this is the Bechina of Bereshis. What does it mean, Bereshis? Beis Reshis, that there's two beginnings, above and below, Bina and Malchus. Hainu Shnei Reshis. This reveals itself in the aspect of Rosh Hashanah and Nisan, Tishrei and Nisan, which is the machlokas about the creation of the world. It's Din and Chesed. Tishrei and Nisan. Tishrei is Hayom Haras Olam. It's the secret of the world originating in the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of HaKadosh Baruch Hu Rotza Livros Sa'olam B'Din, which is why it's Tashrak, Taf Shin Reish, and Nisan, which is Aviv, it goes in the order of the Aviv, is the secret of the Chesed Debayim Kol Yuma, the secret of Choy Katoiv Lehetiv. And both of them are the points of origin. This is machlokas between Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Yoshua, who were ultimately Talmidim of Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, who represent these two paradigms of Chesed and Gvura in their Shoresh. That's why the Megala Mukos says when it comes to Hillel and Shammai that Na'aseh Adam Nimlach im Shammai and Hillel, that the entirety of existence is born out of the Machlokes of Shammai and Hillel, which is ultimately the Machlokes between Chesed and Gvura, which is ultimately the Machlokes between the Tzimtzum and the Kav, which is ultimately the Machlokes of Choshech and Or, which is the birthplace of all of existence, which is what Rabbi Nachman is masbir in the 64th teaching, that Kol Yamai Hiskadalti Bein HaChachamim V'Lo Matzati Guf Toiv El Ashtika, that Rabbi Nachman is revealing that the Tzimtzum is the Machlokes between the Bilti Gvul and the Gvul. Kol Yamai Hiskadalti Bein HaChachamim. Rabbi Nachman says the light is revealed specifically in the in-between space between the Chachamim, in the point of argumentation, in that point of Machlokes, that's origination from the Tzimtzum itself. So this Machlokes of Tishrei and Nisan rests at the center of all things. This is the element of that there's two beginnings. Shagam Nisan hu Rosh Hashanah. Nisan is also a Rosh Hashanah. And Zak Teheliga Tikunim, Vihi Nikras Kabbalah. Kad ihi ben train druyin de malka, the train druyin hain tishrei v'nisan. V'heim yemei tshuva, kibam he yemei tshuva, ki b'nisan atidin legoyel, v'ein hagu'ula el yedei tshuva, k'may shekasu v'valetzion goyel. So let's go slowly here because we're now in the territory where like the words are coming closer and closer together, but nevertheless we can still believe that we can follow, at least we can read the words. Nevertheless, we could also see how all of the hints and these worlds that are reflected to in these quick words are also giving us insight as to how we can draw this teaching down as well. The Bechina of what we've been talking about is the secret of the fact that there's two. There's Bina and Malchus. There's the Tzimtzum and there's the fulfillment of the Tzimtzum, which reveals itself in Tishrei and Nisan, the two beginnings, Chesed and Gevura. Gevura being Tishrei and Chesed being Nisan. Shagam Nisan hu Rosh Hashanah, meaning like Rabbeinu said earlier, the secret of the Yichud Ilah and the Yichud Tata. And what does it say in the Tikkunim? That it's referred to as Kabbalah, that the Torah is referred to as Kabbalah, and it's referred to as something that is fundamentally being received, specifically when it is grasped by two arms. Meaning to say, when the thing that we're trying to grasp, when the Nukud of Malchus, when the Nukud of Torah that we're trying to grasp, is wedged between the train Droy and the Malka, the Chesed and the Gevura, the train Droyan which are Tishrei and Nisan. Tishrei is going to be the Gevura of Smolo Tachas Roshi, and Nisan is going to be Yemino Techabkeni. Vehem Yemei Tshuva. Both of these are days of Tshuva. Both edges represent the secret of elevating concealment back up to a place of clarity, which is the secret of Tshuva and the secret of Geula. Because the days of Nisan are also days of Tshuva, because the days of Nisan, we're told, are Samach Geula LeGeula. Why do we need Purim? Why do we need Purim close to Pesach? Because it's Samach Geula LeGeula. So the time of Nisan is a time of Geula, and we already saw that Geula is dependent on Tshuva. Memela, Nisan is also a time of Geula and Tshuva. Ki Nisan asidin legoel, ve'in Geula ela ayedei Tshuva, kamay shekasov uva letzion goel. Ve'ikr yediyas HaKabbalah. What's the Ikr Yediyas HaKabbalah? Hainu Yediyas Soidas HaTorah, the knowledge of the secrets of Torah, which is the Torah of Atikas Tima'a. When is this going to be fully revealed? What's the tachlis of it? Huyiyah La'asid. The full tachlis is going to be revealed in the future when the words that we're learning actually mean something to us. As the Heilig Tzlach writes in his introduction to his biur on Shas, that the reason that we have to learn Panimiyas HaTorah in the language of Agadata is a mashal l'mad davar doma to someone who is shipwrecked on an island and is completely removed from civilization, but has the hope and the tzipiyah and the anticipation that they'll return back to civilization, and they want to maintain the language so that then when they come back, they'll be able to engage. So too, we read these things nowadays as a segula that in the future, when Mashiach Tzidkenu comes, we're going to understand a little bit. As the Me'orinayim writes, when they came to the Me'orinayim about publishing a sefer, he said two things. He said, I want you to take out anything that I remember saying. And he had them remove everything he remembered saying. And then he said, ultimately, the reason that we should publish it is because if you hear the words now, when Mashiach Tzidkenu is darshaning, you'll have an understanding. So Rabbi Nachman is saying that the Iker Kabbalah, the Torah of Atikas Tima'a, which is wedged between Nisan and Tishrei, which is wedged between the Tzimtzum and the Giloi, is going to only be revealed in the future in the element of Tainug Shabbos. The Arizal would learn Nigla for the 6 days of the week, and then on Shabbos he would learn Nigla b'derech Nister, because Shabbos is the element of Hastara. It's the element of Matana Tova Yeshli bebeis Ginzi v'Shabbos Shemo. It's the secret of Shabbos Ein La Bas Zug. It's the secret of the Yechidah Shavanefesh. It's the secret of there's no Choshech by Shabbos. It's an orientation towards the future. And that's the Iker Tachlis of the Hiskalus of the Torah of Atikas Tima'ah, which is again, and we have to hold cup. This Torah started about the secret of tzimtzum within the heart. And Rabbeinu is being Megala now how every ounce of human struggle is ultimately about creating a vessel for the Hiskalus of Pnimius HaTorah La'asalavu. In the Bechina of Az Tis'aneg al Hashem. In the future, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu reveals himself, that's when we're going to have pleasure. V'zel Lashon Tishrei. This is the secret of Tishrei, which is the language of Shira, of Teshura Me'rosh Hashanah. It's the secret of the Shir Pashat, Kafel Meshulish Meruba, as Rabbeinu describes in Torah Ches and Tinyana, that Harim Koilcha Keshoifar is Rosh Tevos, Kafel Shalush, Pashat and Ribua, because the shofar is the secret of the Pashat, Kafel Meshulish Meruba, because Rosh Hashanah, which is Rabbeinu's entire Inyan, is the biggest simsum. It's the malchus of it all, going back up to shofar. And when the Arizal describes the process of shofar, he describes over there the din in Hamtakas Adinim B'Sharasham, that when the Baal Tokeya is blowing the shofar, all of the dinim are going back up to the shorish of the dinim, which is why you should look at the face of the Baal Tokeya and the redness of it, because it represents Dodi, Tzach, Ve'edom. And so Tishrei is the lashon of Shira also, and Pesach is also the notion of Pesach. Both of these reveal the secret of the Shir Meruba that's going to be revealed in the future, as it says, Hashir Yeh Lachem Kalel Hischadesh. Kilel his Kadesh Chag, Ki Yisar Shir V'Niguna Ba'alma. Again, Rabbeinu is highlighting that this process always brings about more revelation by way of song, more revelation by way of revealing how the concealment itself is going to be the site of revelation. He is Ayer Shir V'Niguna Ba'alma in the aspect of Pesach, in the Bechina of Lamanyas Merecha Kavod V'Lo Yidom Daika, meaning I'm not going to be silent anymore. I'm not going to keep the mouth shut. It's going to be a time of ascendance from Malchus back into Bina, which is going to be the place where the mouth can open itself up. And the Kavod is the element of Melech HaKavod, the element of HaKadosh Baruch Hu down here, in the Bechina of Sarah Al Kol Ha'olam. V'zeh Bechinas Tzitzis, and we're going to read a little bit weiter. This is the element of Tzitzis. Hainu Bechinas Tcheles. Tcheles is this fundamental secret. Tcheles is the blackness of the blackness. It's the unification of white within blackness. It's the place of din shebedin. It's the place of dimyon, of tcheles domeliyam, yam dola rikia doimelakisa kavod. Dimyon is apparently a descent away from knowledge. It's a descent into the place of malchus. It's the language of tichla, regam, and ashuk, but nevertheless, it's there that we're going to find illumination, specifically through the tzimtzum. This is the element of tzitzis, the bechina of tcheles, the achli koyle v'shatzi kola. It eats and it destroys everything. Ki al yidei hisgalus malchus the kedusha yisbatel malchus the sitra achra. That when I'm able to reveal the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu within this place of malchus down here, within this halal in libi chala bakirbi, I'm going to get rid of all of the concealment and the malchus the sitra achra. Aval Yisrael hadvukim ba yekablu chiyusam. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes to get rid of the dinim, all of the pirud and all of the ra is going to be removed from the lower realms, but the connectivity and the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we found there is going to persist. So everything else is going to be destroyed in the secret of Tichla, of Tcheles, destroying all of the concealment. But for us, it's going to remain because we've gone through the process of, like the Zohar says, Va'atem hadvekim b'Hashem elekeichem. You have dvekas with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the aspect of Tcheles, which is the Achli Kula v'Shatzi Kula. It destroys everything, but because you have a connection with it, Va'afal Pikein Chayim Kulchem Hayom, you're going to be able to persist because you've learned the secret of building kalim. Someone who has never built kalim, when the tcheles is niskala, will have no ability to be sovel because they're going to be expecting ore, and instead they found the kli. Tcheles is a kli, it's malchus sheba malchus. But when a person has done the work of malchus and refining malchus and creating a tzimtzum to reveal the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then we're going to find light there as well. This is the place, the Iker Chayas comes from that place, and the secret of David Melech Yisrael Chay V'Kayim. David Melech is the Evan Masu Abanim Haisel Rosh Pina, the malchus Gnuza Baradla, the Sha'ashuim of the Torah of Atikas Tima'a. V'zebechinas Kala, this is the element of the Kala, of the Shechina that's ascending up again from the place of the Tzimtzum, of Mizois Oile, of Malchus going back up in the aspect of Tcheles, the Achli Kula V'Shasi Kula, which is meant to destroy everything, but nevertheless, of Yisrael Hadvekim B'Hashem, but those of us who have learned the secret of finding connectivity in the vessels and the Tzimtzum itself, we're going to find Chayim V'Kayamim, we're going to find life, V'zebechina Ki E'es Kala B'chol HaGoyim, There's going to be destruction that is unleashed upon the nations of the world through the secret of the Kilyon that's rooted in that place of Malchus, that they didn't have the preparation for understanding how Kalim can be a place of Avodah, which is why they're going to come to a Sukkah specifically, and the Sukkah is going to be the final clarification, because the Sukkah is the Tseil, the Sukkah is Malchus Sheba Malchus, it's Ruach HaKodesh, it's Schach, it's the Chaf HaDimyon, it's the 20 Amos of the Dimyon, and in Sukkah, specifically there, we're going to reveal the real clarification between us and the nations of the world, because we learned how to understand that Ein boy chesron kiss, that the kiss itself, the gvuros, the kos, the container, is not a chisaron, but rather it's going to be the place of revelation. And this is the secret of B'tachal Nefesh David. Nefesh David is the aspect of Tcheles, it's the aspect of Malchus, the Achle Kula V'Shasi Kula, that destroys all concealment, but reveals more and more. And this is the secret of the Ruach Tzafon Haisam and Hasheves Bekinor Shel David. The Ruach Tzafon is the Hisaris of the Gevuros that comes about by way of Bina, Bechatzos Laila, and the Kadrusa de Tzafra, at the original lights that emerge from the depth of darkness. That's the secret of the Ruach Tzafon. The northern area is Tzafon Tiftach Hara, but nevertheless it's from within that place of Tzafon that we uncover the Marav Tuvcha Asher Tzafant L'Reacha, the concealment of the Torah Vatikas Lima'a. And that's the Ruach that breathed itself and played itself upon the Nefesh de David, upon the Chasronos of David, and instead of wanting to go back to sleep because of the sadness of it all, David HaMelech understood that each and every part of this is where the shear is going to come from, and this is where I'm going to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu from. And he woke up and he was menagin. The Ruach Tzafon is the element of the dinim and the gevuros, and the bechina of the tcheles, but it's specifically there that negina comes from the ability to descend and ascend afterwards, like a person who's playing a guitar. It's ascending and descending. The waves of the sea, which is the shear that comes about by way of the Levium, the instruments that were created by Cain, because it's all about, by Cain's offspring, because it's all about the tzimtzumim that are Gala the Kol. And this is the aspect of the Sharish of Nagina, Miknaf Haaretz Zimros Shamanu. We heard Zemira from what? From the Knaf, from the corner, from the Tzimtzum. Tzitzis are affixed to the corner where we forget everything, where we don't remember anything, and it's specifically there that we're going to reveal the deepest light. Miknaf Daika, from the secret of the Knaf, of the edge, what Ishbitz referred to as that point where I lose consciousness. I can't see past the corner. I can't see past that edge. That place that remains hidden from sight is where we need to affix our tzitzis, because it's specifically at the place of forgetfulness as we depart away from Moichin that we have to remember a mitzvah, just like the mezuzah teaches us as well. As we're going out, we have to connect. Miknaf daika, from concealment itself. Shu b'chinas tcheles, the element of the tcheles, the element of the malchus. That's the place that Naim Zemiros Yisrael is going to be meskala. That's the secret of the hay. The secret of the hay, which is the dalid, which is emptiness, that has the yud drawn down into it, of the machshava tova into the halal hatzimtzum. This is the dalit, which is the element of the arba kanfois. It's the secret of the four edges of Malchus, Bechinas Miknaf Haaretz, from the concealment of the land, and the Yud is going to come to illuminate it in the secret of the Asar Mine Niguna, and the secret of Zimros Shamanu. Chaver, you have a little bit more time to go weiter. I think we have to finish this Torah. V'zeh Perush va'asiras ha'efa soilas l'mincha. Va'asiras ha'efa, the 10th of the efa offering, which is the soilas l'mincha. Efa is referred to as po. Where is it? It's the secret of efa hayista biyaste aretz. It's when HaKadosh Baruch Hu answers Eov from mitoicha sa'ara in Parak Lamed Ches in Eov, which is the shirish of the Nun Share Bina. Every question that HaKadosh Baruch Hu poses to Eov in response to Eov's suffering, each and every one of those 50 questions are identified by the Ramak, by the Gra, by the Arizal as the 50 Sha'arim of Bina. So this Eifa Soilis the Mincha, Ki Iker Koyach HaKala. What's the Iker Koyach of Malchus? The Bechina of Tcheles. Where does it receive its Koyach from? Where do we receive the Koyach to be Megala, the purpose of the Tzimtzum in the heart? We receive that light in Malchus from Ima, from Bina, in the secret of Ima Oizapas Mana Librata. In the secret of the mother gives a garment to her daughter. This is what the entire Adir Bamarom from the Ramchal is built upon in the beginning, that Bina is mashpia to Malchus, the capacity of Malchus to come to terms, to own its role, which is to reveal how within the Tzimtzum itself is the tachlis of everything. And so Malchus receives its koyach from Ima, from Bina, which is mi imzois, that Bina is the source of Malchus, and then Malchus emerges out of Bina in an apparent degradation, and it develops and it manifests as the lower world, which appears to be separate and apart from Yerushalayim Shalmala. And then the Chiddush is that in the concealment and the tzimtzum that allows Yerushalayim Shalmata to congeal from within Yerushalayim Shalmala, Adraba Ipcha Mesaber, which is Rosh Tevos Ima, we come to find that it's specifically on the bottom that we come to elevate that which is on top. So Ima gives koyach to Malchus, and then Malchus comes to reveal an even greater potency within Bina itself. Ki Bina dinin misabramine. That Bina is the source where all of the Gevuros emerge from. Vihi Shairashan, which is the place of its source, where it emerges from. But at the same point, Sha'al Yadam Nimtakim, like we spoke about in the secret of Hamtakas Adinim B'Sharashim. V'zeh v'yit'atzev el libo. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was sad, so to speak. Where did that sadness come from? Where did the destruction of the world, the recognition that rak ra kol hayom, machshavosam rak ra kol hayom, they're destroying the world, their machshavos ra'os are destroying the world. And so HaKadosh Baruch Hu was met'atzev alibo, because Lev is the place of the binyan of the tzimtzum. And when there's machshavos ra'os, like we said, the world is polluted, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to create a new world. V'yatatzev alibo, in the b'china of dinan mis'abr minei, in that place of bina. Vayomer elibo lo osif oid lekalel, and he said to his heart, so to speak, that source of the gevuros, that I'm not going to allow it to be destroyed anymore, and that's the secret of the hamtakas hadinim misharasham in the heart. V'zeh perish va'asiras ha'efa. What does that mean? The measure of the ephah, the tenth of the ephah. Ephah is a peh. Where is the mouth? I don't have the ability to speak. There's no dibor. It's ne'alamti dibor. It's the dibor has gone into exile. It's malchus peh when it's concealed, when it's not connected to its shorish. The bechina of kavod eloikim, melech hakavod, kad ihi slikas me al alchia sha'ilin begina a peh. When malchus disappears, when Ruach HaKodesh falls away, like we said, when the Eitzah of the wife is not working. So the Malachim say is, Ei Peh, where's your mouth? You have nothing to say. Ayim Kom Kavodo, where's the kavod of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that was ascendant from this place a moment before? But the secret of Asiris is the secret of the Yud. And we have the ability to draw the Yud into the Dalit and to be mashlim the deficiency in the aspect of Kedusha that's going to be Megala itself within the Halal. Hainu, Kisha writes Nahamshich Kedusha L'Teicha Malchus Kedei L'Ha'alois Oisa B'Bechinas Ei Peh. When a person finds themselves in a place of the concealment of Malchus, which is what? The concealment of Malchus is the loss of Dibor, it's the Galus HaDibor. A person finds themselves in that place of Epeh. So what does a person have to do? Soiles lemincha blula b'shemen. I have to be mechaber, the two batim together. I have to elevate the concealment of Malchus and bring it back up to Yerushalayim Shalmala, which is the shirish of the dinim, which is Hamtakas Adinim B'Sharasham. And the Beisa Ilah, Bina, Malchus, is referred to as Soiles lemincha. Why is it Soiles the Mincha? Because that's the place of Yitzchak, the element of Dinim, the Bechina of Yitzchak, Tikein Tfilas Mincha. And Soiles, Lashon Salita Kol Shoigim Mechukecha, Shebesa Ilah Mamtik Mishaber Hadinim K'nizka La'el. Soiles means cleaning out. So Soiles Lemincha means that Mincha, the shirish of Bina and Yitzchak, has the ability of clarifying and getting rid of all of the dirtiness and the darkness of the Gevuros. That's why it's Vayetze Yitzchak Lasuach Basadeh Lifnos Arev. Lifnos Arev says the Heliga Baal Hatanya in Torah, or that what Yitzchak Avinu was going to do was going into the Eiskei Hasada, going into the secret of Torah Shabbal Peh, the arguments about the field, the arguments about the Shnayim Oichsim, all of the lies and the Dimyon, and it's specifically in that place that Yitzchak descends down to clarify it, make birurim, maybe birurim shonim, to be megala, how it gets rid of all of the dinim themselves. That the Beit Ilah, Bina has the ability of being mamtik all of the dinim. That's why the Para Aduma, which is Bina, comes to fix the Egel, which is the Gvura of Malchus, because Bina is always the place of the Hamtaka. In the aspect of Mi Yamala Gvuras Hashem, Baruch Hashem, we said that pasuk before. The aspect of Bina, which is Mi, has the ability to be Malel, to be mamtik, to get rid of the Gvuras Hashem. V'tzarech sheyuchlal beisa ilah im beisa tata. And a person has to ensure that they include the Beisa Tata, the Malchus, within the Beisa Ilah, and the Bina within the Malchus. And that's what's going to reveal the Shemen, the element of the Shemen of David HaMelech. So the unity of Bina, which is Soiles the Mincha, which is the shirish of the dinim that has the ability to be mamtik all of the dinim, has to connect itself to the secret of Blula Bashemen, which is the secret of David Malka Mashiach in the secret of Malchus. And that's going to be the unity of Malchus and Bina. Shetzarech sheyuchlal beisa ilah im beisa tata, hanikra Shemen, in the aspect of Malchus David, kamay shakasev, and this is why David HaMelech was found in Sodom specifically, which is that shirish of Yitzchak Avinu coming into the world, and then Sodom having to have a hapecha, because as the Meshilach points out, when Yitzchak comes into the world, the shorish of the dinim, all of the dinim have to have a hamtaka. How is the hamtaka sadinim? It's in the haficha of Sodom. And what does Hakadosh Baruch Hu find in Sodom? Matzatzi David Avdi. I found David Avdi. Where was he found? Sodom. And that's the secret of the bina that comes to be metakein, the dinim, and to elevate Malchus back up. And then it's the aspect of Malchus David, like it's written, Alkein Mashchech Eloikim Eloikecha Shemen Sason, Va'ideze Reviyis Hahin. And that's the secret of the Malchus itself. Mamis goes far. How much time do you ever have? We could do one more shear. We shouldn't lose out on the value of the shear. It's 9:04 now. I'm happy to go. I have another 20 minutes in me that could theoretically finish this Torah, but I don't want to hold you guys longer.
I'm good.
Gewaldic. Gewaldic. And even if you three disappear at a certain point, as long as we start with it being good, then we'll get there. So let's go weiter. Yashikoach.
Yeah, no.
Okay. V'zeh perush, and all of this is the explanation of l'shamish sham oil bahem. V'hu kechatsan yoytze michupaso. Ki tzadik nikra shemesh. Tzadik is the sun, or it's referred to as the sun, place of illumination. Kamamar Chazal, ad shalei shaka shimshel shel Eli v'chulei. We learn that one tzaddik exists, and it's only after the shkias hashemesh of that tzaddik when another tzaddik of the same type can emerge. So we see that the tzaddik is referred to as the sun. B'zrichaso shel tzaddik, meaning to say the illumination, the rising of the tzaddik, which is their hasaga, their grasp, only takes shape through Yisrael. It's only malchus, only nishmas Yisrael that gives purpose to the tzaddik, that gives the tzaddik the ability to be illuminated. Very similar to the dynamic where we're seeing that Bina only finds illumination through Malchus. What does Bina need Malchus for? What does the tzaddik need Klal Yisrael for? What does HaKadosh Baruch Hu need the world for? Elama, Adraba, Ibcha Masaber. This is the secret that HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided to create his palace on a dunghill. And it's Ratzah Kadosh Baruch Hu Liyoslo Dir B'Tachtonim, and it's the Dir B'Tachtonim that's going to be Megala more. Like the pasuk says, Leichreid Ki Shachas Amcha. Hakadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu, go down because your nation has failed, that they've descended. Klum Nasasi L'cha Gedula Ele B'Shvil Yisrael. That Hashem says directly to Moshe, the only reason I gave you greatness was for Klal Yisrael. They both knew this all along. This is what Moshe has been saying all along, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is admitting it. V'zehu oyel bahem. Oyel is a lashon of zricha. Bahalu neri, that my light is going to shine. That bahalu is a lashon of a shine. Ohel bahem. So l'shamish ohel bahem. When does the illumination of the shemesh, which is the shemesh is the tzaddik, and the ohel is the giloy of the tzaddik, when does the giloy of the light of the tzaddik of or tzaddikim yismach take shape? Lashon zrichaso kamo behilu nero, that the candle will shine. Ze bahem, with them specifically, meaning to say, l'shamesh ohel bahem. L'shamesh ohel, the shamish is the tzaddik. Ohel is the language of the illumination of the tzaddik. When is the purpose of all of that? Bahem. When we're learning the words of Rabbi Nachman in 2025, in our own lives, with all of the riboy kalim and the riboy tzimtzumim and the choshech, hakaflu mechupel, and the astara shabatocha astara, what that's doing is creating a new kli for the light of Rabbeinu to be megala itself, which is that the hiskalis of the tzaddik's light and the zricha of the tzaddik, and especially the tzaddik shel olam HaKadosh Baruch Hu, only take shape in accordance with bahem, as a result of the tzimtzumim of Klal Yisrael. Ukeshe Yisrael chas v'shalom nichnasim b'chachmos chitzoniya shel ha'umos azay noifel hatzaddik mehasagaso. But when Klal Yisrael find their sustenance on the externality of the wisdom of the nations, and we try and impress upon ourselves the impressions of the nations rather than chachmas hapnimius, azay noifel hatzaddik mehasagaso, then the tzaddik who loses the value of nishmas Yisrael at that point, because nishmas Yisrael is darkened, that tzaddik is also going to have a yerida. V'nischape v'niskase hasagaso, and the tzaddik has to hide. The tzaddik has to then go down and hide. Again, this Torah, when Rabbeinu gave it over, Rabbi Nassan says no one really had any idea what was being said, because Rabbi Nachman was saying it in order to be mevatel gezeros. There were gezeros that were coming down on Klal Yisrael, and saying this Torah and being malbish the hasaga was the way of being mamtik the dinim of whatever was going on that year. And there was a lot of dancing also that year. And so Rabbeinu here is giving us insight into the secret of what's really taking place. That when Nishmas Yisrael and Klal Yisrael are not doing what they need to do, then the hisgalus of the tzaddik Yisod Olam doesn't have the ability to be Megala itself fully because the only purpose for it being Megala itself fully is when Klal Yisrael are worthy of receiving it. This is the story of Moshe. But when Klal Yisrael break free from the concealment and the stuckness, and break free from the chitzonius of it all, and break free from the chachma that exists there, but we dive deep into the Torah of Atika Stima'a for the uniquely Jewish expression of Lamala Mitam Bendas and Eino Yidei Klum. Azai hu kechasan yotze mechupaso. Then the tzaddik is going to become like a chasan who's yotze mechupaso. The light comes out from concealment again. Moshe Rabbeinu has a purpose to shine. Moshe Rabbeinu comes again. Moshe Rabbeinu is able to return. Mashiach Tzidkenu arrives. When Klal Yisrael are worthy of it, when Klal Yisrael are ready for it. V'hu kechasan yotze mechupaso. Hatzadik yotze meachupu v'machase shahaya. The tzaddik is able to break free from the concealment. And then the tzaddik, who's the gibor with the gevura, runs with speed and alacrity to the secret of bina. The tzaddikim are moving so fast, running through the worlds, and that strength and intensity of breaking free from the concealment is what happens when we make ourselves kelim ru'uyim for the light of the tzaddikim to be maskala through us. And as the Rebbe saw, I reread again today, the Rebbe says when you're learning the Torah of the tzaddik, you're makasher to the chachma of the tzaddik, and the chachma of the tzaddik is the nitzutz nishmaso, and when you're machaber and you're malbish that nitzutz nisham of the tzaddik within yourself, it's as if you become that tzaddik. It's as if you become that tzaddik. It's because ultimately that's the secret of Moshe Shakir Ka'amart, that Chazal, the best joke, is that Chazal would say to one another in the heart of a very serious conversation, Moshe, you said good. Even though the person's name was not Moshe, no one batted an eye because everybody was fundamentally aware that, yeah, we're all just different parts of the same brain. We're all different parts of the das of Moshe coming into fruition and the das of the tzaddik coming into fruition and bringing the tzaddik into Eretz Yisrael. Because beforehand, it was going very slow. Now the tzaddik can move very quickly. Yisrael nizufin. Yisrael were stuck and the tzaddik couldn't move. And now the tzaddik goes out and he dances out. Yasus kagibor lerutz oirech. It's the speed, it's the ratzon ha'elyon, it's the quickness with which it's done. This is the breaking free of light. When light shines, the sparks of light, the tzitzin, the illumination of tcheles, something that surrounds, something that is touching and then disappearing, touching and then disappearing. When I access this light of being mantik the tzimtzum, I bring it up to its source of bina, which is a makif. And with this koyach of tcheles, we get rid of all of the concealment, all of the akum, and the element of ki kala b'chol hagoyim. When we ascend out of our own malchus, malchus no longer has a reason to function as it functions in its concealment, and no longer has to give vitality and sustenance to the Ummah Sa'ilam and to the Rishayim. And this is the secret of the Ein Nistar Machamaso. Machamaso Zebechinas Kala, the secret of malchus, the heat that takes shape when the Shemesh is able to shine again. Kamashakasav Kala Bechema V'Kalem Ve'enemo. The Kala, the Giloi of the heat of malchus is going to reveal the nothingness of the concealment, which is also the test of the Goyim is going to be it's moitzian es hashemesh betekufas tamuz, and that's going to be the tsar in the sukkah. That is going to be the illumination of the sun itself, because they can't handle that light that comes about by way of the kelim. And through that the atika, and through that we have the ability of being zeicha to the Torah of atika stima, where every ounce of the kli of ani is nesapich to be a revelation of ayin in the aspect of oinig Shabbos. And this is the secret of Torah Hashem Tamima. The secret of Torah Hashem Tamima. Shehi Torah da Atika. It's the Torah of Atika. Shehi Tamima Adayin. That it's still Tamim. It hasn't been touched yet. Sha'adayin lo hisigu mimeni klum. Meshivas nafesh. It restores the soul. The Bechina Shabbos ki by Shabbos vayinafash. What Rabbi Nachman is saying here is a teaching directly from the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh, and it's brought down in the name of the Gra, and Rabbi Chanan Wasserman brings it down also, that Torah Hashem Tamima means literally that after all is said and done, and after every aspect of Hasaga is revealed, when all of it is gathered together and placed on the scale in correspondence to the depth of the Torah, it will be as if the Torah has not yet even been opened. Everything. Chamishe Chumshe Torah. Nothing has touched the essence of what the Torah is. Our understanding of Chamishe Chumshe Torah. Nothing. We have no hasaga whatsoever. I saw in the name I saw this in a sefer called Chesed Avram from Rav Avram Slonimer, Schusio Ganalenu, who was a Gilgul of sorts of the Shpaler Zayda. His Torah is Mamish, the Torah of Rabbi Nachman, because it's coming from that place, as I understand it. And he says that the language of Eden, the language of Gan Eden, is a lashon of Adayin, meaning it has not yet happened yet. Because the secret of the Torah Vatika Stima, the secret of Gan Eden, is the recognition that it still has not yet fully revealed itself. Even the elements of revelation are still not the full revelation, because in correspondence to what can truly be revealed, it has not yet even touched a semblance of it because it's ad infinitum. And that gives us the secret of Shabbos Vayinofash, the secret of Shabbos. V'zetam lama sheleches akala lechasan talis ki tzadik mekabel gvura yidei Yisrael k'may shekasav l'shamish oil behem. And Rabbeinu says this is the reason that the kala, which is the secret of malchus, sends a talis to the chasan, which is the secret of the tzaddik, because it's that the tzaddik only reveals the gvura to be able to be megala tzitzis through the hiskabris of the kala, which is Klal Yisrael. Like we said, the shamish sham oil behem. The shamish sham, that the tzaddik has the giloi specifically through bahem. Allah ala screaming out Allah Ella al shem hi ha'oila. And the secret of every chasana represents this process of the unification of Malchus and Bina. Ki simcha hu believe, the true source of simcha is the heart of Bina, natata simcha belibi. Bina and Gvura and Dinim and Sha'ashuim and Yitzchak, they're all fundamentally rooted within the secret of simcha, which comes about from the desire to gain that which I don't have, in spite of the fact that I know I'll never have what I'm seeking, that to continue to try and gain and finding happiness within that place, that's the secret of simcha. Of Ezu hu ashir hasameach bechelko, of finding shlemus within deficiency itself. That's the secret of bina and the joy. Kamoshakasuv nasata simcha belibi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you have placed joy within my heart in the secret of mizos ola, of malchus, the kala, going back up to the secret of bina, which is the place of joy. Uzmirus shem mazmirim ala chasana. And the chasana is Geula. The chasana is Geula. And the songs that are going to be sung at the chasana, this is the secret of hey, the unification of the Dalid with the Yud inside of it, the secret of the Shirpashat, Kafel, Mashulish, and Meruba, Keniska La'el. And this is the reason that we scream out Shabbos, Shatzokim, Shabbos by the Chasanas, Shalidei Zeh, Zoichem Na'oinek Shabbos, L'Torah Da'atika Stima'a. Umasha Noisnim Ma'os Shakaran Shabbos. And when people give money to the Chasan, and the money given to the Chasan is referred to as Shabbos geld, Ki Ba'oraisa Shal Achshav Yeshimin V'Smol. Nowadays, in orientation to the Torah of Chachma, to the Torah of separation, as we understand it, there's the Yamin and Smol. There's Nisan and there's Tishrei. There's Gvura and there's Chesed. Ubesmoile Oisha. And in the left, there's going to be wealth. Wealth comes from the left side of things because it's Shulchan B'Tzafon. Because Mamonis is also the Dimyon that comes about with the Gvura and the desire to find the wealth of Yitzchak, etc. Aval Ba'atika, but in the Torah of Atika, Leis Smoila. Leis Smoila. There's no left side. The left is completely contained within the right side. The feminine principle is completely contained within the masculine principle to the degree that on the parts of Atik Yomin, it's Acharayim Besa. There's no revelation of the Tzimtzum or the Gevuros there. Mamela, there theoretically shouldn't be any money there. And this is the reason we're giving money at the chasana, because when we enter into the place of Atika, and now there's a deficiency of Mamonis, because Mamonis is the deficiency of the left side, and there's no left side of Gevura here, so B'meila we have to draw down Mamonis to the individual who found themselves on the level of Atika, no longer having access to money. And there's no wealth there. When a person is at a chasana, which is the secret of the unification of Malchus with Bina, which is the awakening of the Torah of Atika Stima'a, so what Nishmas Yisrael realizes they have to do then is Noisnes Hamaos. They give money because they realize, oh no, this person is going to have an issue now because on the level of Keser, there's no Hamshach of Kesef. Kein Tzarech Lamaos in that place. In that place of Atika Stima, this person is going to forget about their need for money. In that place of Atika Stima, you don't have the same needs. And this is the secret of what Shabbos Taf Peches says, that Hainu Tzadikim, the Malachei Tzavakos, the Tzadikim, who are the Malachim, Geburei Koach, Osei Devaro, Shehem Medadim B'merutza U'b'mehirus Kadei Larutz Orech, that they want to break free from the gate and they want to run forward with intensity. Zerikudin. This is the secret of the dancing. This is the legless beggar, the dancing. Ubenavas bias to chalik shalal. The Yisrael, which is the secret of the bias, they're the ones who are machalik the mamos. They're the ones who are bringing money to the tzaddik. Lahoyre she'ein tzarech lemamon. We're bringing money out to reveal that the tzaddik has now gone up to a place where there's no need for that money anymore. Ve'ein sham bechinas atika small, because on the level of atika there's no small, and that's why bias to chalik shalal is Roshei Tevos Shabbos. Okay, we're almost there, Chevra. Almost there. Be'ezras Hashem. Inyan acher. Another reason that we give out money by the chasana, lahoras vatranus gadol, to show a profound level of openness and sharing. Lahirisha kala hi bechinas hey. The kala is the element of malchus, which originally was a dalid, which originally had dalus and impoverishment, and now because it's fulfilled with the yud, it has a hey. And this is the way that the ashiras gadol is going to come in the element of harikoisi lachem bracha ad beli dai, which is the secret of dai, which is the dalid that draws the yud into it. When you draw the yud into the dalid, it's ad beli dai. When you enter into that place of revealing the hey from the dalid and the yud, so that's going to be the secret of ad beli dai. Ad sheyivlu seichem, meaning to say shemachalchem amamos, they give out the money. They reach that place of the bracha of atikas tima'a ad sha'amos ein chashuv etzlam, to the degree that the money is meaningless at that point to that person. Everyone at the chasana is just giving. This is the darga of Purim. Kol hanois and yad poishadlos, because there's a skalis of reshad lois yada and leis smoila b'hayatika, and therefore there's no ashiras in that place, and everyone is an ani. Even the ashir is an ani, and even the ani is an ashir, because everybody is equalized in that place. V'zeh perish v'asiras ha'efa. This is the secret of Asiras Ha'efa, Asiris, which is the secret of Eipeh, when a person loses that side of Malchus. Hainu Shabalu Pihem Leimerdai, Sheish Lehem Kol Kach Ashiris Zamachma Shanase, they Revius Hahin, that they transformed from the Revius to the Hin, from the Dalit to the Hay. Mesim and Lamed Beis Adkan, from Torah Lamed Beis until here. Kol Zeh Ulashan Rabbeinu Zechron Al Bracha Levad, Be'ezeshu Mokomo Shehosafti Sham Ktsas V'dvarm. Aside from a few places, says Rabbi Nassan, where I added a little bit. Again, bina, right? The way I heard and the way I understood from his holy mouth. Omi pik savo, or as I understood from the mouth of his writings. This is a very important thing. Pik savo, the sefer as a mouth. Misam pela adam. When we read the words of the sefer, be'emes, the sefer is now speaking, and it's the words of the sefer speaking in our mouth. It's the kisvu lachem aluach libecha. Or tishma, to hear the words that are coming out of your mouth, like Rabbeinu points out in Torah, hey, kenirsham kol echad b'makomo, and each of them are engraved in the places that they're engraved. Okay, this is actually maybe the most important part of it, and the most evocative, and the least subject to really defining, but at this point of the Torah, we should have a grasp of what this is trying to tell us. Somebody who wants to bring a wine libation on the Mizbeach, Nisuch HaYayin, Yamali Gronam Shal Talmidei Chachamim Yayin. What they should do is they should give wine to the tzaddikim, they should give the Talmidei Chachamim wine, they should support the tzaddikim so that they should be able to have the bracha of being Yayin Nesach. Because the tzaddik and the Talmid Chacham is also an element of the Mizbeach. Ki Iker HaElikus Hu Belev. Because the truest place in which we're going to encounter HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the aspect of godliness that exists within us in the Chelek Eloi Kamimal is in the heart. Libi Chala B'Kirbi, that's where we're creating the world. It's specifically in the heart. The purpose of the Tzimtzum is to go not only to Chachma, but from Chachma down into Bina, which is the Chachma Shebelev. That's the secret of Tzur Levavi, that we create the world in our hearts. And there's no tzayer, there's no artist like HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The tzere is the Nekuda of Bina. It's the Vayetzer Ha'adam. It's the Machshava Toiva and the Machshava Ra'a. All of this takes shape within the creation of the world that is developed out of Bina itself. Ein tzayer ke'elikenu. Ki halev hu atzayir shalamidos. Like we said, the lev is the halal, that place of bina that forms and informs the vak and the chesed down to the malchus. Hainu chachma shebelev, the lamed beis nesivos chachma that go down into the heart. Ki koydem habriya or HaKadosh Baruch Hu ein soif, because before the creation, the infinite light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu was there, as we described earlier, see there clearly. Nimsa, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to create the tzimtzum, and that the lev is the bechina of libi, chalel bekirbi, that my heart is empty, like we said, in the aspect of tzur levavi keniska la'el, that my heart is the place of the halal in the creation of the world, in the bechina of bria sa'olam, in the reality of creating the world for the sake of being makabel al malchus shemayim. Ula hepach, but chas v'shalom keshahalev atum, when there's a lev even and the lev is closed, and the aspect of the orla salev, that's the machshava ra'ah, which is tipshus libam, which we said is the stupidity of the heart. Hu makalkel es habriya, it destroys the entirety of creation. It destroys the purpose of creation. Kemuvur la'el, as was explained before. Va'al kein hatzadik shalibo patuach b'chachma, and that's why the tzaddik, whose heart is open with chachma, whose heart is open for the sake of, okay, whose heart is open, I just want to make sure the computer doesn't die, whose heart is opened with chachma, the tzaddik is the opposite of the enclosed in the closure of the heart. In the aspect of libi chal bakirbi, he's cleared out the heart. In the aspect of tzur levavi, al kein ayedei ziyuchal lachadish ma'aser bereishis la'asos nisim v'neflos ba'olam. The reason that tzaddik has the capacity to be machadish ma'aser bereishis, and all of us are tzaddikim, and to do nisim and neflos, is because we have that koyach of his chadshus ha'ilamos of being mal the halal, and that's the secret of betuvo machadish b'chol yom tov and ma'aser bereishis. Betuvo meaning machshavos tovos. That's the element of the tzaddik who's referred to as tov. Kamosha kasuv imru tzaddik ki tov ki lev hatzaddik b'chinas brias ha'olam. The heart of the tzaddik is perpetually recreating the world, and we're the heart of the tzaddik as well. And each and every one of us are engraved upon the heart of the tzaddik. Kasvu lachem aluach libecha, to be afui b'lev hatzaddik, as Rabbi Nachman said. V'zeh perish masha amru Rabbeinu zachron lebracha. This is one of the most powerful statements in Chazal. Chamuke yarchayayach kamei chalayim maseh yedei aman. That the depth and the concealment of the thighs, as the Gemara in Sukkah describes, that the sodos HaTorah come from that place, are like the depths of the chalayim. They're the depths of the abysmal, voided holes at the bottom of existence, the abysmal depths from which the waters of the depth come out, where David HaMelech encountered the Tahoim el Tahoim Koirev, the Mayim Elyonim coming out specifically by Simchas Beis HaShoeva. What do these things mean? Elu Hashisin, these are the Evan Hashasiya, this is those engravings at the very foundation of existence, those poles of emptiness upon which the entire of existence is built, the tzimtzumim upon which reality is miskala. Menukavim umechululim ad hatahom. They're voided, they're empty, and they descend down into the abysmal depths. This is the secret of libi chalal bakirbi ki tahoim da liba, because the heart is the abysmal depth. The heart is the tahoim el tahoim koira. The heart is the place of the Evan Hashasiya kemuva bezar hakadosh. V'zeh chalayim ma'aseh yedei aman, and this is the secret of the emptiness that takes place through the craft of the handiworker. Ma'aseh yedei amnusa shalak HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is being mitzamsem perpetually to create the world. The bechina of the chalaim, hainu shemechulalim adatahoim, the tzaddikim who are being mechalal their lave in order to be mechadesh ma'aser bereishis in the aspect of libi chalal bakirbi, in the aspect of bria sa'olam. And this is the secret of ma'aseh yedei uman umnusa shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu ki bechinas libi chalal bakirbi bechinas chalayim shemechulalim. It's the creation of worlds. Shehu mamish ma'aseh yedei umnusa shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing in the aspect of bria sa'olam. This is how we can create nisim in the world, by going through the tzimtzum and then the halal and then being magala the shleimus in that place. Shemechulalim ad hatahoim hainu bechinas nisim, like it says v'tohom kol ha'ir. Once we dive down deep into the abysmal depths, then we have the ability of drawing out nisim, which are also referred to as a tahom. Why is a nace referred to as an abysmal depth? Because when a nace takes place, v'tehom kol ha'ir, the entire city is bewildered. They have no idea what happened. It's tohu v'vohu. They have no idea. Shekol davar davar nisi hakol tmehim. When a person sees a nace take place, which is the nace of Klal Yisrael surviving even the annihilation of the tcheles and the secret of Hashem oiz le'amu yitain, and that will survive the undoing of the tzimtzum, everyone is going to wonder how that's possible. And this is the secret of harotza the nasech yayin yamale groinam shal tamidei chachamim, because the garon of the Talmud Chacham is like the shisin that go down to the tahom, and it's the kenna and the lave, and it's in that place of libi chal bakirbi, and it's the pouring down of the chamra of a richani pikhin to open up the smells of reach tuv of the boigdim and the secret of Mashiach Tzidkenu. Va'al kein kol ha'mimale groinam ki ilu menasech yayin al gabe hashisen. Anybody who feeds them with wine, it's going to be as if they brought the libations of wine on the Mizbeach, because it descends down into the very depths of the Halal HaPanui. Be'ezras Hashem. I know the end, there's more, but the computer is going to die and it's shaykh to a previous os, so if everybody can read those words, just to be mashlim the Torah, Be'ezras Hashem.